can your expectations of a situation influence the actual outcome of that situation? Let's find out. In this study, they took a group of college students and had them complete a variety of cognitive tasks while they were simultaneously undergoing imaging of their brains. That way, they could monitor what actually happens within the brain during these various tasks. Now, here's the kicker. Some of the participants were primed with the word clever and the others with the word stupid. And they found that the students that were primed with the word clever actually performed better than the ones that were told that they were stupid. However, here's where it gets interesting. Since they were also utilizing fMRI scans during this testing, they were able to see how exactly the brain was functioning and what areas within the brain were increasing in function based upon the answer that they gave and its correlation to the word that they were primed with. After being primed with the word clever, participants expected to do well. But when they provided an incorrect answer, there's now this dichotomy between their expectation and their reality, which led to an increase in the activity of their frontal lobe on imaging studies. That error conflicted with the anticipated outcome of doing well and generated this mismatch signal in the brain. And now, when the brain doesn't get what it expects, it frantically tries to figure out what exactly went wrong here so that hopefully we don't make that same mistake again in the future. However, when the participants were primed with the word stupid, there was no heightened activity in the frontal cortex following the incorrect answer. Why would that be? Well, their expectation of getting the wrong answer, because they were primed to feel stupid, and the actual outcome of getting the incorrect answer were the same. So even though technically you got the answer incorrect, the brain doesn't see anything to learn from because you didn't think you were going to answer correctly to begin with. The participants expected to do poorly, and thus their expectations and their reality were the same. So that's neat and all, but how exactly is that applicable to my life or your life? Well, let's think about it. Why would the brain increase in activity when your expectation of a situation and the actual outcome of that situation do not align? It's because we're literally hardwired to learn from our mistakes. Let me paint you a little picture. I remember when I was really young, I had to have been maybe 5 or somewhere around that age, and my dad was grilling in the backyard. And keep in mind, this is a really old grill. I'm pretty sure he made it himself out of like iron or something. And it's got this really big compartment on the bottom where you throw wood in, you light it on fire, and once it gets hot enough, you can start cooking. Well, I was out there with him and I took my bare foot and I placed it against the pit. And sure enough, it was pretty hot. It burnt my foot. And to this day, guess what I have never done again? Put my bare foot on a hot pit. Do you see how this whole concept could then lead to negative outcomes in your own life? For example, if you do not expect to get promoted and you were to continue on your normal routine, you probably wouldn't be real surprised when you didn't get that promotion. The brain ends up receiving what it anticipated, and no error-related signal will be generated within the brain to modulate that behavior. With this outlook, you likely won't attempt to work any harder or even change your work ethic. So now look at the situation from an employer perspective. Why would you get a promotion if you're not doing anything of greater value for the company? On the flip side, if you are expecting a promotion and you get passed by for some reason, your brain now has to go into detective mode to understand what would be a reasonable answer as to why I got passed up on this promotion. And as those wheels start turning, you can now try to figure out what you can do better so that next time you actually will get the promotion. Maybe you will be motivated to put in a few extra hours or even ask for more responsibility. Eventually, these actions can then lead to the sought after promotion that you were anticipating this whole time. Our brain is constantly making predictions about the future, and based upon one's own experiences, biases, outlooks on life, and maybe even a little bit of luck, we get our perceived version of the world. So think about this next time that you go into anything, whether it be to ask for a raise or a difficult conversation with your spouse, or maybe even when trying to talk yourself out of a speeding ticket, your expectation of a situation may have a more profound impact than you actually think.